They say home is where the heart is. For me, that was true, because my heart had 4 paws and a tail. My name is Emily Harris, and my dog Scout was the only reason I smiled after my husband died. We'd been married for 22 years. He passed suddenly, and after that, my world turned grey until I met Scout at the local shelter, a mixed golden retriever with eyes too human for his own good. He became my family, my therapy, my reason to get up every morning. But the Homeowners Association of Pine Creek Meadows didn't care about that. To them, Scout wasn't family. He was a violation. It started one ordinary morning. I found an envelope taped to my door. A notice stamped in red. Notice of violation, unauthorized animal on premises. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Pets were allowed here, at least they always had been. I called the HOA office. A woman answered, sharp voice, no warmth. This is Carol from Pine Creek HOA. How can I help you? Hi Carol, I said. This is Emily Harris on Birchwood Drive. I got a notice about a pet violation, but dogs have always been allowed, haven't they? Actually, she said, the board just updated our policy. Only dogs under 25 pounds are allowed now. I froze. Scout, about 60, he's been here 2 years. Then you're in violation, ma'am. You'll need to remove the animal within 10 days. I felt my heart sink. Remove him. As if he was some piece of furniture. That night, I sat on the porch with Scout's head in my lap, staring at the letter. The ink blurred as tears filled my eyes. After everything I'd lost, they wanted to take the only thing I had left. But here's something they didn't know: grief makes you soft at first, but later, it makes you steel. I wasn't going to lose Scout without a fight. The next morning, I went to the HOA office in person. The president, Rick Saunders, was there, a retired real estate agent with slick gray hair and a smile that never reached his eyes. He looked up as I entered. Mrs. Harris, I assume this is about your dog. Yes, I said firmly. Scout is my emotional support animal. You can't just change a rule and force me to give him up. He chuckled. The board can and has. The rules are clear. Emotional support animals need prior documentation, which you don't have. I can get it, I said. My doctor will provide it. Then do it quickly, he said coldly. Otherwise, we'll begin fines. Something about his smirk made my blood boil. He wasn't enforcing a rule, he was enjoying it. That night, I went online and started reading HOA bylaws, federal housing laws, anything I could find. That's when I discovered the Fair Housing Act. It protects residents with emotional support animals, even in no-pet housing. If I could prove Scout was an ESA, the HOA legally couldn't remove him. The next day, I called my therapist, Dr. Lawson, and explained everything. She didn't hesitate. Emily, I'll send a formal ESA letter tonight. Scout is clearly part of your healing. With that letter in hand, I thought I was safe. I was wrong. 3 days later, another notice arrived, this time with a fine attached, $200 per day. Attached was a memo from Rick himself, stating that my ESA letter was insufficient and unverifiable. I called him furious. Rick, you're violating federal law. He laughed softly. Oh, please, Mrs. Harris, don't talk to me about law. We have lawyers too. And he hung up. That's when I realized this wasn't about dogs. This was about control. So I decided to hit them where it hurts most, their reputation. I reached out to the local news, to an investigative reporter named Megan Tate, who'd recently covered a housing scandal. I told her everything: the new rule, the threats, the fines, and the emotional blackmail. She sounded intrigued. Can you prove your dog is registered as an emotional support animal? Yes. And can you show me the fines? Yes. She said one line I'll never forget. Then let's make this story public. 2 days later, She came to Pine Creek Meadows with a camera crew. The moment they parked, neighbors peeked from behind blinds. Within minutes, Rick came storming out of his office, red-faced. "Mrs. Harris, what is this circus?" "It's the truth," I said quietly. The interview aired that evening, a full segment on Channel 6 News titled, "Homeowner Battles HOA Over Emotional Support Animal." They showed the fines, the ESA letter, the harassment. They even played a recording of Rick saying, "We have lawyers too." By the next morning, the story had exploded online. Emails flooded the HOA's inbox. The city council called for a review. Neighbors began posting signs that said, "Let Scout stay." The pressure was unbearable for the board. Within a week, the HOA held an emergency meeting. Rick wasn't smiling anymore. They announced a reversal of the pet restriction policy, reinstating the old rules, and canceling every fine they'd issued. When I received the official letter, I sat on the porch again, Scout beside me. Only this time, I was smiling. A few days later, Megan stopped by again for a follow-up interview. She asked, "Emily, what message would you give to other homeowners facing HOA abuse?" I looked at Scout, then back at the camera. "Never let anyone tell you what family means. If you know what's right, fight for it, even if you have to stand alone." The camera panned to Scout licking my hand as the sun set behind us. That clip went viral, millions of views. And the HOA, they didn't dare bother me again. Sometimes strength doesn't roar. Sometimes it sits quietly beside you, wagging its tail, reminding you that love is worth fighting for.